further ado, guys, listeners, forever where you're watching, give me 2 claps and a peep snake.
Woo!
There we go.
There we go. There we go. Of course, this is a wrestling weekend. AEW fans have got a pay-per-view tonight. That's Wrestledream. We know everybody's going to be looking at this. We've got tons of wrestling news, but of course, we're here to right the ship and get you going in the right direction of those 3 tenets that make every Saturday the way it's supposed to be. And it starts with laughs, good times, woo, and all the wrestling news possible. Can I get an amen on that one?
Amen. Let's go.
There you go.
Perfect. Well, how you doing today, peeps? You feeling good?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, guys, I understand for those of you who have been watching us, who knew who I was, and gave us 2 claps and a peep snake, you might be wondering where the third man of this faction is. Of course, Mr. 401 is attending to certain duties that he has to go ahead and be committed to. It is okay. He will be back on the show hopefully next week. So look, Chris, big ups to you. We're going to try our hardest to go ahead and make this as laughable and Mr. 411-icated as possible. Notice I didn't say but hey.
Yeah. You're creating your own vocabulary, so that works.
Absolutely, at this point. I mean, do we got a choice?
Yes.
But big ups to you, Mr. 411.
There you go.
With that being said, to the listeners, to everybody watching, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, we appreciate you guys for going ahead and tuning in on this wonderful episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. Of course, it is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wherever you're at, we appreciate you. Continue to show love, like, comment, subscribe, share it. Do what you please. But at the end of the day, we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for going ahead and tuning in. You want to follow us on our social media platforms, of course. They're down below for you. They're up top, as you can see above me and Peeps' heads. Saturday Afternoons _ Main Event on Instagram. Twitter being Saturday Main, or I should say X. I'm not that much of a Gen Zer, but I mean, oh well. Peeps, it's okay. But
I understand.
Without further ado, I think it's only fair that we get into today's show. And it only works when you hear this sound. And unfortunately, I think by hearing this sound, I have to tell my friend Peeps Nate to brace himself. Because Peeps, it is time for
Wrestling Crash Course.
You okay?
I'm good, I think. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, look, guys, we're kicking off Wrestling Crash Course today with a bang. TKO's contractual obligations. Jesus, who thought that in the year 2025 of our Lord AD, I'm sitting here talking about releases within the WWE that beyond a 30-day release clause, beyond a 60-day release clause, we get a 90-day release clause without pay. How does that happen? Well, Peeps, Would you like to go ahead and tell the audience what in the blue hell is going on here?
Yes, I shall. First and foremost, we start the proceedings off, as we talked about with TKO, by a certain wrestler who showed up on AEW about 3 weeks ago. And we talked about this ad nauseum, like, wow, what a surprise. In Andrade El Idolo showing up on Dynamite to start what looked like a pretty prominent feud with Kenny Omega. He showed up that 1 week, and that's the last we've seen of him. Like I said, it's been 3 weeks now. And nobody has no hide or hair of where he's been, what's happened, or whatever is the case. Now, as more news has trickled out, we now know what has gone on. We know that when we talk about releases, as we talked about last week with a lot of NXT releases that happened, and we're going to add a couple more today. We also know that we know how the WWE works when it comes to releases with certain wrestlers. Usually, if there is the contract is coming up, they don't want to resign, or WWE wants to let them go. They let the contract expire. They're not going to resign. They're done with the company. They move on. But usually there's a 90-day clause, which is 3 whole months, where you're not going to be able to work for anybody else until that
Okay.
non-compete clause is finished with. Well, we did not know is that either Andrade, his agent, or WWE either did not inform him, didn't inform AEW, or nobody knew anything involved that quote unquote breach started with Andrade showing up on AEW television. He did not know, or maybe he did, that he was still under that non-compete clause. TKO is now with newer contracts are doing something that I don't think is going to stand up in a court of law at any point in time, because they're doing a 1 year non-compete clause. And I actually have the clause that they talked about, and I'm going to give it to you just so that you know, because I screenshotted it and took a look and see what it is. And this is what the clause is that is in question. Upon termination of this agreement by promoter, which would be WWE,
Okay.
or breach of the terms hereof, wrestlers shall not work, appear, or perform in any capacity for any professional wrestling, sports entertainment, mixed martial arts, and or ultimate fighting organization, promotion, or entity not owned or controlled by promoter, WWE, or any affiliated or subsidiary company that in the United States for a period of up to 1 year from the date of such expiration, termination, as specified by promoter, WWE, in the notice of the termination, provided, however, if there is no lesser period is specified by promoter, WWE, is the notice of termination, such period shall be 1 year. That's a lot to unpack. If you're going to wrestle for a company and you have a contract going and something happens, it's like, okay, at the end of the contract, if you're going to go for whatever that breach of contract is, you're not going to be able to compete. AEW, MLW, New Japan, etc. Even going into the UFC, which ironically is owned by TKO. Interesting. I'll ask you this, and I would like to get your opinion about this.
Okay, talk to me.
How do you think this shakes down overall as far as the viability of it? And what do you think going forward is going to happen with WWE? Because from what I see, this is a PR nightmare for WWE.
Peeps, the fact that we're even here, first and foremost, to be talking about WWE in the sense that this is what they're pulling with Andrade. Rich Holland. I mean, that's another general one. You know,
yes.
Think about how things were literally probably last year. Get a 90-day release clause, pay you for those 90 days, then you're free to go wherever you got to go.
Yes.
But to now think, TKO has gotten so big to the point where they've become money hungry to a narcissistic level. We're not talking, okay, let's just be greedy. No, we're talking narcissism, okay? We're talking levels of, yeah, we signed you to a contract. Yes, we did this. The only place where I genuinely go ahead and put blame on Andrade is by signing the contract without reading the fine print. Because if this was genuinely in the contract and Andrade probably just went over it like, okay, 90-day release clause, if they release me for something that, and they no longer want me, then okay, I'm gonna get paid for those 90 days, and the story go back to AEW in 3 months. It turns out they fired him. But by firing, wouldn't that just kind of like cancel out the contract as well?
That usually is how it's supposed to work. In a free trade
got
business.
Terminated for probable cause after damn near threatening Tony Khan, where the man said he felt so unsafe that this was the most unsafe he felt at a wrestling show. Even though he could have jumped ship to WWE the next day, he waited a couple of months. So anybody who tries to pull out that excuse, don't. Please don't. This is WWE showing how penny pinching money hungry they are. Case in point. And peeps, their day in court will come.
Yes. Yes.
I digress.
The first one of the day. I knew based on this topic, we were going to have a couple. I look at it from this standpoint. First and foremost, you lightly touched on the Rich Holland issue, which is something that happened during the week, that Rich Holland is not re-signing with WWE. This falls into the same category with TKO. This is the part of the business that we as fans hate. Rich Holland got hurt, took time off, and we know how the WWE and AEW to some degree is, where you get injured, but you're still under contract. They will add that time off that you were away from in-ring competition and tack that on to the contract and still pay you, but they still contractually have you for the length of that contract, adding the injury time that you've had. And then if you're not going to be re-signed, okay, that's fine. Rich Holland got hurt after he was supposed to be working a program on the main roster. He came back. WWE actually had him on NXT, and he took a $200,000 pay cut. Jesus Christ. $200,000 pay cut. And then was officially not going to be used again. And this goes under that whole entire deal of what are we doing with this talent? Where this company is making money hand over fist. We talk about this ad nauseum. How many times have we talked about wrestlers looking for better deals, better contracts, trying to get a little more money? And then you hear TKO and WWE almost boasting and bragging of how much money they've made each year, record sales, record merchandising. And then they never can find the money to pay the wrestlers that they're supposed to be getting. And to take a $200,000 pay cut because of what the WWE is looking for maybe was not what they wanted out of Rich Holland. And then to now say he's not going to resign and he's going to fall under that same 90-day clause, etc. But it seems like the newer TKO deals that are coming in are going to have that 1-year clause that I just read. And the problem with that is this was one of the reasons why way back in the 80s, Jesse Ventura and Roddy Piper wanted to unionize wrestlers so that they can protect themselves from things just like this. Exactly, brother. Yes. And the problem is doing that would cost you a 90-day clause in another promotion. Yes. Cease and desist. It's insane.
This is crazy.
Yes.
This is genuinely crazy. But look at it this way. If this is how it's going to go, eventual downfall, I guess, via fans, via wrestlers who might want to show up to the company, WWE is going to see their day. I genuinely feel if TKO continues to pull things the way that they're pulling, I don't even think you noticed. Because Triple H is now handling White House authoritative figure stuff, they hired somebody to become the head of creative for a little bit. And guess what? He's going to be using AI, artificial intelligence, to begin writing storylines.
Oh, we've seen the geniuses that are out there using AI on just social media. So we can only imagine how this is going to work within WWE.
We got a question that actually addresses that later today. I can't wait.
Okay.
You know what? Screw WWE. How about that? That's a good ending statement, right, peeps?
There you go.
Perfect. Well then, look, from there we move to this. Injuries have burned WWE's plans down. Good one, right?
I see how you worded that. I like that. I saw how you worded it.
But, okay. We all know about Jacob Fatu. That's understandable.
Yes.
We all know about Seth Rollins. Crown Jewel was a stellar match. I think this is a good place where we can actually review that match.
Yes.
Peeps, I said something to you earlier this week about Seth Rollins, and I said the man is a gifted wrestler. Night in, night out, you put that man in the ring, he will show you exactly why he considers himself to be the best on the freaking planet.
Yes.
But what wrestling fans know, what people like you and I know, is that Seth Rollins is made of glass.
Yes.
And peeps, when you apply pressure to glass time and time again, what happens to it?
I believe it shatters.
Meniscus, MCL, ACL, and now due to the fact that he thought he needed to get a major pop factor by doing a stupid diving headbutt coast to coast to Cody Rhodes from one end of the ring to another, and he ends up landing on his arm in a stupid type of way. Now it's a shoulder?
Yes.
You stupid. I digress. Peace.
There you go. There you go.
Take over. Take over. You know what? Before
Okay.
you even take over, let me just say this.
Okay.
Bron Breakker spearing the holy hell out the man, followed by Bronson Reed trying to tell him, look, I don't know about you doing this.
Yes.
Bronson says, come on, man. He's like, what the hell? Brings him to the ring. Tsunami. And then Paul Heyman kind of looking conflicted for a second.
Yes.
As if he has to raise their hands, and he's just like, screw it, I'm with that.
Yes.
I can't get myself killed. Perfect. None of us were expecting it. That was great. Bron Breakker, future of the business. I agree. But with that being said, Punk is supposed to face him at Saturday night's main event in Utah, right? For the World Heavyweight title.
Yes.
The man's injured. And from what I'm hearing, this man might be out till next year. Well into WrestleMania. Past WrestleMania. Maybe SummerSlam. Peace. What do we do? What's going on with these injuries?
It's tough.
Only affecting the main roster. You would think with Ilya Dragunov back and winning the U.S. title.
Yes.
Ilya, you would think things are looking up. But no! Same old BS dumpster fire. And it's not only happening with the WWE, it's happening with AEW. Kota Ibushi might be out 2 years.
Yes.
I digress. Please take over now.
There you go. Yeah, the Kota Ibushi one, that's really rough because Kota Ibushi doesn't really seem, as you talked about Seth Rollins being made of glass, Kota Ibushi he must be made of tissue paper because the last 5 years he's missed so much time. He broke his femur on Collision, wrestling Josh Alexander in a freak accident where he was on the shoulders of Josh Alexander. Alexander slipped. Ibushi falls backwards, tries to brace himself by holding onto the railing, and as he came down, he banged his knee. The knee came up 300 miles per hour in the opposite direction, snapping his femur, which is the strongest bone in the body. That's something for somebody who's 43 years old, that's going to take some time. As far as Seth goes, Seth right now, that changes creative in a huge way. I'm pretty sure that this company was not trying to hotshot what was going on with the company's direction of the vision. I think on some level, maybe they were going to flirt with maybe adding another member or two. At some point, there was going to be that decision where somebody was going to go ahead and take out Seth, move him out of there. But now the hand has already been played. The injury is there. Seth, which we now know why he had that gigantic jacket that he was wearing. It looked like he was wearing someone's couch to the ring. Outside of the gaudy nature of the character's wardrobe, that was to cover the fact that he had a sling on underneath, because there was a picture floating around the day after Crown Jewel that he was in a sling with an ice cream cone in the other hand. So that goes there. We know he's been pulled from other shows. Chances are he's not going to be wrestling at least, and I'm being conservative, at least 6 months. I'm pretty sure it might be even longer than that. Knowing Seth, now you go and you're going to try and fast forward what happens. And we're going to look to see what happens towards War Games, because this is what this was supposed to be building towards. If you're looking at Seth now being out, the picture that they've shown of Bron and Bronson getting their hand raised by the Oracle looking perplexed. We still don't know whether that is genuine fear or if that's part of the plan. Because remember, this is the same guy that screwed CM Punk at WrestleMania. So we don't know how the machinations of this are going to be going forward. It's a great story beat to continue to have and explain that way. But going after that, Seth, it's horrible news for WWE. It alters what one of the WrestleMania main events could have been, and all of the other matches involved switches up the players and may accelerate or decelerate certain storylines just based on that.
And that's the problem. So, peeps, now with that being said, knowing that Seth might be out for a long period of time, knowing that this kind of messes up the world title picture, what happens at Saturday night's main event?
That's a good question.
We let the man have the match? Do we
If
not?
I would hate for it to be vacated, because this is basically become wrestling cliche. Somebody gets hurt, they work the injury angle, like what they did with Jacob Fatu. I mean, Jacob Fatu, look, he was in a car accident. I mean, they just dumped scaffolding on him and he had his teeth on the ground, which was, I think, somewhat overdone, but maybe they're trying to let you know Jacob Fatu is going to be gone for quite some time. If we're looking at what they do with Bron, are they going to have him at some point get a title match? Will the match happen with
idea.
Seth loses in a squash? Is his shoulder so hurt that he can't even compete for one match? Like, kind of like what happened with Cody and his pec muscle. Like, is it damaged to the point where he can get in the ring and it's all about pain tolerance, at least for one match before you have surgery? We don't know those variables. But there are also some people, because of what Seth did to get that world championship, that actually think that this part is a storyline. So that's the great part about the business that we love. But we'll find out as they go forward. I think Bron is going to be world champion fairly soon. It's a matter of how they work it. And that's what I'm most curious about. As long as they don't put it in that writer AI and, they have him wrestling Dr. King, or, Tupac comes from the aisle and hits him in the back with a chair or something. Who knows? I digress. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I digress.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yes.
Damn. But from there, we move to the world of Japan. Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes.
I just love saying that all the time.
Yes.
Takeshita has beaten Zack Sabre Jr.
Yes.
And has won the IWGP World Heavyweight title.
Yes.
Peeps. I thought Sabre was actually going to retain.
Yes.
But with Takeshita having this under his belt now, being an AEW talent at the same time.
Yes.
Does this bring more eyes to Japanese wrestling? Although a lot of eyes have been on Japanese wrestling for a very, very, very good 4 or 5 decades.
Yes.
With knowing that, what happens with this? Does it help AEW more? Does it help IWGP? Or does it just help Takeshita?
Well, Takeshita right now was kind of like in a holding pattern in AEW proper, as far as what they were going to do because of the world title picture, what they're doing with this burgeoning feud between himself and Okada. We know that that's going to happen. That's on the cusp. They've been teasing it for the last month, even though they're both in the same faction of the Don Callis family. That's what they've been doing. And Zack Sabre Jr., who I thoroughly enjoy all of his matches because he is a technical marvel. The only knock on him is his size in the eyes as far as the presentation of how he's portrayed. But remember, the mighty never kneel. So, when the mighty don't kneel, you continue to do what you do, which is being, 170 pounds and being a world champion and showing what kind of match you can have. That being said, Takeshita, great move. It works. They can bring him in eventually after some of his commitments are done. And of course, he becomes a liaison for Japanese wrestling, for bringing even more Japanese stars into AEW and maybe bringing some more American wrestlers from AEW over to New Japan and maybe getting that going. But I think that this is leading towards some sort of winner-take-all type of match between Okada and Takeshita down the road. And I think that's where this is going.
Okay. Well, then look, from there, peeps, that covers all of the stuff that we have for Wrestling Crash Course, and that is pretty much the it. Okay, look at that, peeps. We're working. We're moving.
There you
Second
go.
weekend, we're actually getting this right, guys. We're getting this right.
Yes.
But peeps, from there, give us the ratings for this
Okay.
week.
Interesting rebound for one, and an even very good, better showing for the other. NXT won again. I don't think that's becoming too much of a stretch nowadays. They won the week by getting 690,000 viewers with the new attention in the Nielsen ratings, with a 0.12 in the demo. Whereas AEW, which did 321,000 last week, rebounded by getting 534,000, which by no means is a great number, but it's not 300,000 views. So they got 534,000 viewers with a 0.11 in the demo. So a really good rebound. I believe for whatever the showing is, the the segment that they did with Moxley and Darby Allin in what looked like a prison, of them yelling and screaming at each other behind a prison wall, and then seeing Darby Allin getting beaten up behind the wall. I think for whatever it was, that segment seemed to do the strongest in the show. So it got the eyeballs back on the show. The regular viewing patterns returned because last week's show was on Tuesday. But even more importantly, it was a 3-hour block. The third hour was Collision, and that Collision did 400,000 with a 0.11 in the demo, which is even better, which is double than what they did the last week, which was 286,000. So as we've seen, when they do a Collision following Dynamite, both shows viewers seem to increase. And especially since this is the go-home show to Wrestledream, I think that's what they were looking for. So kudos to them. It worked.
Indeed. Okay. Well, look, peeps, thank you for the ratings. We appreciate you. We thank you for that. But guys, this marks the end of the first half of Same. Of course, Wrestling Crash Course being over. You want to keep up with all the latest social media news and updates. Of course, you know what you got to do. Follow us on our Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event. Follow us on Twitter at Saturday Main, and follow us on TikTok as well. If you want to catch news and updates and funny videos and memes, because again, look, laughs, good times, all the rest of the news possible. What would that be without our mission statement, right?
Yes,
so,
there you go.
Guys, follow on TikTok as well at Saturday Afternoons ME. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick 30-second break. When we come back, we will get into our questions. And then, of course, last but not least, beyond everything else, our predictions for tonight's AEW Wrestledream. Stay tuned, guys. Do not go anywhere. The second half of Same is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the second half of Same. Of course, it is out a phenomenal one. Alongside me is my co-host, the one and only Peeps Stage. We're here to give you laughs, good times, and all the rest of the news possible. Now look, Peeps, again, part of the show that we always enjoy. The questions,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now look, before we get to the serious question, I just have to go ahead and address this comment from Hot Rod 316. He says, Seth Rollins is the Anthony Davis of wrestling.
Wow.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
I can't disagree with that a lot. You know, I mean,
you really can't. He's not wrong.
Yeah. Remember, he went into last year's WrestleMania injured. So.
You're right. Yeah, I remember. That now. Yeah. Okay. Well, shit. You know, Anthony Davis it is.
There you go.
If anyone finds an NFL version, let us know. Just let us know. But to answer the first question, right? It comes from Master Sean 007. He says, "Greetings, gentlemen. By now, all of you have seen some of these AI wrestling videos. What were some of the more ludicrous ones you guys have seen?" And I saw a comment from someone saying that there should be an AI-based wrestling promotion. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, do not get any ideas.
Dear
What
God.
are your thoughts on all of this? Peeps.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I saw, I remember I sent it to you, was Chris Benoit making his debut
Yes.
back from the dead on AEW television.
Yes.
And all you heard was Taz saying, "Oh my God, Jones is Chris Benoit." And Taz was like, look at Chris getting emotional.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
shocked that he's here. Look at and it looks so real. I kid you not.
Yes.
For a second, I had to do a double take because I was like,
Yes.
then came, "I'm sorry to tell you, but I don't have dreams no more. I am the dream."
Yes.
Yo,
Oh yeah. Yes. I don't know. The people that are using this AI program, they have really, really lost it. Now, mind you, the AI program went public for people 3 weeks ago. And we already have, I saw a meme of the late painter Bob Ross painting the Ultimate Warrior's face paint. I've seen one with Liv Morgan pulling out a pew pew from.
Oh my God!
Yes, you remember that one? I'm sure you saw that one.
I was waiting to see the next scene.
Yes, there was the one with was it Abraham? No, George Washington, and I think it was Bill Clinton getting into the ring and having a promo battle or something along those lines. Yeah, this AI stuff is getting carried away. And as we talked about a little earlier, the WWE is thinking about using AI for storylines. And then the one part of that story that I found out is that the program actually was used to test a particular storyline just to see what they could do. This is according to the story that was reported, that they tried to use an AI story to generate for WWE. And for whatever reason, the AI thought that Bobby Lashley was still in WWE and created a storyline of him being a samurai, coming back for Japanese culture. Like, what? Yeah. I think the apocalypse is coming very soon for wrestling and for mankind, because this AI stuff is getting out of hand. Between Dr. King and Tupac and I saw one
Reagan,
Biggie, yeah.
Bush. What's next? Woodrow Wilson. Like,
you know, there was another Benoit video that I saw with him standing in the ring, and the devil was standing behind him, looking to claim his soul. I saw that video about a week ago. There was the other one, which is also, a lot of these are in bad taste, but the ones that have Eddie Guerrero. Yeah.
I saw one with literally Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC.
Oh boy.
And Aaliyah. What does that tell you, bro?
Man.
Yo,
yeah.
I'm done. Like,
yes.
AI is getting too advanced.
Yes.
Too advanced. That is too much for my brain to comprehend.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there really looking at it like, how are they doing this?
Yes.
How?
Just type it in the story in the parameters, and it's pumping out a story. And the crazy part about this is the kind of stuff that people do on 2K. It's now turning 2K, create a wrestler, create a story, create a franchise modes, and turning them into real stuff that they can now not pay writers and bookers, etc. And that's where I fear the fear is of these AI videos. That's where we're headed.
It's really getting scary, man.
Yes.
It's really getting scary.
Yes.
But, peeps, with that being said, the next one, right? Thank you, Master Sean 007, for that one. This one comes from Jadinator Productions. It's live. He says, what championship would you want signed by who and why? By the way, what's the best memory that made you hate a wrestler?
There are a lot.
Yo, that's what I'm saying.
That's the crazy thing.
Oh man, where do I start? Okay. A championship would you want to sign by a wrestler? Who and why? The big gold world heavyweight title. And it's multiple people.
Yes.
Flair, Taker, Batista, Copeland, Cena, Orton.
Sound like you're starting your own promotion.
Peeps, look.
Yes.
These are the people that I grew up with, so you don't.
Yes.
It only makes sense.
Yes.
And then Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That would be a dream. That genuinely would be a dream. It starts with Flair though, and then it just edges itself closer out and out with all of these different other people. If people are gonna go ahead and hate on me for not saying Goldberg, screw you. I do not care. You know, I don't care. I do not care. Okay, please. When it comes to the second part of the question, best memory that made me hate a wrestler. The fact that it's still in my mind. SmackDown, I believe it was 2007. You see that, peeps? This is what makes me remember certain things. I go sit down in my basement. You remember that cool little basement? I'm sitting there watching SmackDown, steel cage match, Undertaker, Batista. World Heavyweight Championship. They climbed the cage at the end. They both dropped to the floor at the same time. Although it did kind of look like one of them dropped before the other.
Mm-hmm.
But they ruled the match in favor of my GOAT, The Undertaker. And out of nowhere, Mark Henry, big ass.
There you go.
Fun walking down the ring, beats the holy living crap out The Undertaker.
Yes.
Then out of nowhere, I hear, you think you know me. To this day, as much as I can cheer for the man, as much as I sang his song not once, but twice at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, as much as I was sad to see him go, but happy to see him show up in AEW, there is the little kid in me still to this day, a 4-year-old, phenomenal one, still hates Adam Copeland.
I understand.
How about you? I know we're going way back.
Yes, that's going way back. That I can, and that's the good thing about being a wrestling fan is because you may not remember what you had for dinner last night, but you're going to remember where you were when you saw what you saw in 2007, or in my case, 1986, because where I'm going is in the AWA.
Like how old are you? Like 25? 30?
That's funny. Yes. I tell you this. For those that were of my Gen X days, that know of the AWA, that watched the AWA when they were able to watch it, and you can remember Colonel De Beers. We talked about him. He passed away recently. Colonel De Beers and his character was of somebody from South Africa who hated black people, who made it his gimmick was to shame black people and black fans and would refuse to get into the ring with either referees or wrestlers that were African American. And this culminated with a feud with Jimmy Snuka in the AWA. And I distinctly remember this because Jimmy Snuka had a match on television against Larry Zbyszko, which was a pretty good match until Colonel De Beers, after Snuka was about to go to the top rope and do the Superfly splash, Colonel De Beers came running out of the locker room, pushed Snuka off the top rope, and proceeded to front pile drive him right on the floor in front of the fans, which busted Snuka up. And he's bleeding, his mouth is bleeding, his forehead is bleeding, his eyes bleeding, he's bleeding everywhere. And he's then taking his stick and pointing it at the fans until I'm not going to touch this guy. That was one of the first times that I looked at a wrestler and legitimately said, I can't stand this guy. And those are the kinds of things, the emotions that get drawn out of you when you watch wrestling. As far as getting belts signed, I do have the big goal. I would have loved to have gotten it signed by Ric Flair, as I've said it before. I met him once. He signed my book, his autobiography, and I was able to get an autograph from him from that. But if I was able to get NWA Tag Team Championship belts,
I know where
and I could get them signed by either the Road Warriors
exactly,
or the Midnight Express or Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
Of course, half of the four
If
horsemen.
we
I
could
knew
get,
it.
if you could get those guys there, then you know where I was going. If I can get those signed, I would be in heaven.
You know, yo, guys, we're gonna open up a GoFundMe to get Peeps to one of these, like, con. Get this man to meet his idols, okay?
Yes,
we have to. These are his young adult idols, okay? Let's try to get this man to it.
yes.
Jamal Too Crazy Gaming, this is going to be the last question. He says this. He says, how did you feel about last night's Friday Night SmackDown ending? And what was your favorite moment from SmackDown last night? Peeps, take this one. Because I know you have a really special one. So,
yes.
go for it. Because for me, truth be told, I already said it. Ilya winning the title after coming back.
Yes.
Hands down, that's me.
That was, for me, my favorite moment also. I thoroughly... First, for those that have gotten on Sami Zayn about, why is he, getting into certain things and whatever, true. His push for a lot of people is kind of a little overbearing because it's the thought process of you had your moment. You main evented WrestleMania 2 years ago, and it's time for the others to step up. Well, in this instance, it looks like Sami Zayn was stepping back to give back to others by putting them over in this John Cena style U.S. title tournament challenge that he's been doing. And within those challenge matches, I could say without question that these have been some of the best matches of Sami Zayn's career. And the match that he had with Ilya Dragunov, who I mark out for on a regular basis, especially the matches that he had with Walter. Mm-hmm. Those 3 matches that he had with Walter are some of my favorite matches in the history of NXT, both NXT Europe and NXT proper.
I agree.
To see him win the U.S. title after being off of television, as we've talked about injuries, he's been off of TV almost a full year after he severely tore his knee up. And to have that kind of match, and to also look like he's bulked up. He looked like he's added about 10 pounds of muscle. So to see him wrestle with that huge brace on his knee and to see what kind of the condition that he's in now, it was really good to see him in a match of that caliber. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
You see, I have nothing else left to say because Peeps just went ahead and answered it in full.
There you go.
Peeps, appreciate that. Thank you. But you see, with that being said, that marks the end of the question portion of Same for today. As you can see, we enjoy these things. They're nostalgic. Yes. Peeps lives for 500 years. You see, he goes all the way back to 86. I thought I was going to be expecting circus ages, but you know what?
There you go.
Still, all in all, we love these questions. Be a part of the show. You want to send one in? All you got to do is one thing and one thing only. DM us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event. Send in the question in the words of the Wrestling God, WWE Hall of Famer JBL. I guarantee will be on the next episode of the show. So again, at Saturday Afternoons_main event. With that being said, right, Peeps, we've gotten to that part of the show where we get to predicting.
Yes.
Wrestledream.
Yes.
Tonight, St. Louis, Missouri. Peeps, the fact that we have to go through a 13-12 match card. Actually, no. Okay. It's a 9-match card. We're not doing the pre-show stuff. Praise the Lord. Okay, good. But Peeps, still, all in all, it's a stacked card.
Yes.
We had this card the other day. I sat there and I said, okay, I got my work cut out for me today. I really do. So Peeps, look, we're going to go ahead and not waste any time. We have 13 minutes left for today's show. So let's go ahead and give the people what they want.
Yes.
Let's begin this with Darby Allin, Jon Moxley. Peeps, an I Quit match. The war to settle all wars. This has to be the ending match, right?
I would hope so. because it seems like the whole story behind this is that the Death Riders have been trying to recruit Darby Allin. Darby Allin feels the pull that they understand where he comes from, why he could be there, but Darby wouldn't want to join this group because of how they treated Danielson. And the thought process for him is, if this is how you treat your friends, why would you want me to join? So that's the thought process. And as I stated earlier, they've been going really extreme, really violent with the almost setting people on fire, the jailhouse spot that they did on Wednesday. Yeah, it's come to a culmination, and I think that this is the one that Darby Allin gets the victory on, because this has to end at some point, and I think this has to be the case for this.
Okay. So if that's the case, put me down with Darby Allin winning.
Okay.
Well then, X match. Nah, I'll save it. Singles match, AEW Women's World Title. Statlander, Storm. God bless America. And God bless AEW.
Yes.
Babes, put me down for Chris Statlander.
You're thinking along the same way I am also.
He doesn't understand because, here's why. Okay? Indeed, she is a queen of the galaxy. Okay? I look at it this way. Peeps, you remember when Britt Baker was idolized by one young phenomenal one that began starting uprooting the show? Okay. The phenomenal one now says no to Jada Parker, no to Britt Baker, no to Sol Ruka, but yes to Chris Statlander.
There you go.
You heard it here first. Chris Statlander's retaining. And guys, I'm not going to sound like a weirdo. There's reason behind it. Timeless Toni Storm. At this point now, they're doing with her what I thought they would have been doing with Mercedes. The climb back up the mountain. She wasn't pinned for the title. She just ended up losing it. But now, she actually gets her chance to regain it against a Chris Statlander who is beginning to show the world exactly why she should be AEW Women's World Champion.
Yes.
The match is going to be a banger indeed.
Yes.
The promo they had in the middle of the ring a couple of weeks back, chef's kiss.
Yes.
When it comes down to this match and what it means, what would the future hold? The future will hold for Chris Statlander more sense to be able to show people that she can fare with every single other woman on the roster. For Timeless Toni Storm, though, this is a chance to revitalize, to revamp, to go ahead and break down and build up. Because again, I don't feel like Toni Storm's going to just go away. It would only be Tony's fault and RJ City's fault if somehow she moves down the lower card and we never get to see Timeless Toni Storm back on top of the mountain. But if anything, she was the biggest thing going for AEW for like the last year and a half. Am I wrong?
You're correct.
So, with that being said, let me have Chris Statlander proving herself to Timeless Toni Storm.
But there's a question to add to that particular match. Do the Death Riders get involved with this? Because if you remember, it was the seatbelt pin that won her the championship.
You're right.
Could you see Yuta or anybody else getting involved in helping her win this match as well? That's going to be the question going in as far as the story between these two. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
Keep an eye on that one indeed. Tag team match. Winner receives $500,000. What is this, bro? Yeah, Jurassic Express.
Yes.
Or the newly found digressant, oppressant, malnourished, cheap, and broke Bucks.
Jurassic Express is where I'm going. I can't see any. I don't see any permutation where the Bucks win this one. If they do win it, I don't know how it would help them out per se, storyline wise. But as far as trying to kind of establish Jurassic Express again after they've been off of TV collectively for over a year as a tag team because of various circumstances. I think it would be a feel-good story in St. Louis for them to have them go over the Bucks, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay. So then I guess you're putting down Jurassic Express. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Peeps and say the Jurassic Express as well. Luchasaurus and Jack Perry, even though he doesn't want to go by Jungle Boy anymore, which is just stupid.
Yes. He's Jungle Jack Perry. There you go.
Yeah. Anywho, singles match for the AEW TNT title. The Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher versus Marcus. Give me Kyle Fletcher. I'm not going to say this again. He is the Proto Star.
Yes.
Who the hell is beating this man? People must be insane. Mark Briscoe, I don't have a problem with the guy. I don't have a problem with him at all. I love the Briscoe brothers. Long live Jay. But it's just like, come on. Y'all got to do better work of promoting the man if y'all wanted to go ahead and have him look liable to beating Kyle Fletcher. Come on.
There's no way that this happens, even though I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty good match. I mean, the last two matches that they've had have really impressed me more so than what I would have expecting because it's kind of like same old. But Fletcher continues to show you why he's going to be main eventing AEW pay-per-views for the next few years, as long as he's able to stay healthy.
You're not wrong, Peeps. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Well then, with that being said, I guess we both have Kyle Fletcher down on that. Tag team match, AEW World Tag Titles. Bro Dito versus Okada and Takeshita. The Don Callis family.
Yes.
Peeps. These guys are looking like the modern day NWO with the way that they're reclaiming and regaining certain. I'm not gonna say more. Don Callis family to take the win.
You know, the crazy part about that is I agonize over this one because I really enjoy watching Brodito as a tag team.
Absolutely do. I absolutely do.
Knowing what I think they're going for between Takeshita and Okada, I think the AEW World Tag Team titles going over to them only adds more intrigue for whatever match that they eventually have when all of them got walking around with belts. So I think that's where I'm going with the Don Callis family on this one. As much as I don't like to go against Bandito, you know how much I am a fan of his and this tag team. But I think that's where it's going.
Okay. Jamie Hayter, Tekla.
I think this is going to Tekla.
Damn, we're divided here?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is going to Tekla.
You know, the way they have been booking Jamie Hayter, you kind of do have to go ahead and sit there. Damn it, Peeps. Gonna cut a fluffle here. Okay.
You're thinking Hayter based on the fact that they've been giving her that big push since she's come back.
Indeed, because she deserves it. Peeps. She had to vacate the title due to injury.
Yes.
I would have thought Jamie Hayter would be up in the title card picture somewhere. Genuinely, it's overdue. Losing to Tekla, it's not a problem. But I just feel like Jamie Hayter should have at least been top 3 in contenders for this title already. Yes. At least up there. She's not.
And AEW should have done a better job of presenting her. And that's what the issue is. They've done nothing at all. She, as good of a wrestler she is in the matches that she's had, they've done nothing but put vanilla ice cream all over and say, go on ahead and show everybody why you're different from everyone else. And that's literally what it is. And I think that's part of the problem with her. As much as I like her as a wrestler in-ring talent, they haven't done enough to separate her from the rest of the pack. And that's the reason why I think Tekla is going to go in there. Because of the issues that they bring up with Tekla and that whole with the triangle of madness, that seems as a presentation much better, makes much more sense going into that match.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Well then, tackle it is then. I got you. Tornado Trios match, peeps. We heard people versus the Demand. I really do feel like this is one of those matches that need to go to Hurt Syndicate's way due to the fact that the last match didn't go their way. So, peeps, give me the Syndicate to win this match. I know I'm not tripping.
Go. No, you're not, because I got the same thing. I think the Syndicate have been kind of up and down over the last, since they lost the AEW Tag Team Championships. They've been kind of looking their way, trying to find their way. I think this is the one where they get back, and they, as they say, that get right match. I think this is the one that does it.
Okay, no problem. Peeps, winner take all match for the AEW TBS title and the Challengers Championship. And of course, this is an open challenge, so it can be answered by any champion in the world if your name is not WWE or WWE affiliated.
Yes, we don't want to get your
Peeps,
cease and desist as a favorite
really
tag team.
Are we really doing this? Are we really doing this? It's Wrestledream.
Yes.
Peeps. How else can I possibly say this? How can I? This is what's wrong with all of this. Okay, this is what's genuinely wrong with all of this, peeps. The current holder, right, of the New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think it's the strong title, right?
Yes,
is a woman by the name of, it was like Saya Kamitani, something of that stature. Peeps, it's Wrestledream. This is a show that honors Antonio Inoki. You're not building intrigue here. The real question is, are you going to have Kamitani lose to Monet? I'd say yes. Give me Mercedes Monet to win this match.
There you go.
This lady won't lose. What are we doing here? Like,
longest reigning TBS champion of all time. She finally overtook Jade Cargill's record. What is it, 450 days or something along those lines?
Not even 508 days.
508 days.
509 and counting.
Yes, and it's going to continue after Wrestledream tonight.
You're welcome. Peeps, last match. It's already 4 o'clock. Let's get this show on the road. Paige, Joe, AEW title. Give me Paige to win.
Yes.
I'm done here.
Yes, Paige all the way with this one. Joe is going to give you a great match.
Indeed.
I don't see any other scenario that makes any sense taking the belt off of Paige right now.
I agree. Case in point. Well, look, with that being said, guys, that marks the end of our predictions. And unfortunately, it marks the end of today's episode. We appreciate you guys for coming through, listening to us go ahead and talk wrestling, have good laughs, share as much as possible, make our predictions for tonight's Wrestledream, and just enjoy the time here with you guys, the listeners and the viewers at home. We appreciate you. We thank you. We will see you definitely next week for episode 44, which also is our series finale. Season, I should say.
See, yeah. I was just about to say, don't scare the people now.
Peeps. I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for work. Leave me be, okay?
I understand.
I need sleep. That's my problem.
I understand.
It's okay. But yes, for our season finale of Same, because of course the week following that we won't be on air. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And just remember that this was Saturday afternoon's main event. We're at a phenomenal one.
And of course, the Peeps Nate. And for Mr. 411, Christopher Morton, who will be back with us hopefully next week. Of course, you know where you are. So we came.
We saw.
And in the words of the Oracle Paul Heyman,
send them home, peeps!
We conquered!
We have been conquered, okay? You heard the man. See you next week. Enjoy Wrestledream. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite if you watch it. Collision. That's not going to be on tonight, thank God. And so much more.
Yes.
But again, this was saying, P1, the nature, we out. Peace, love, farewell.
Yeah.